let's do this. Let's hit the Parliament of Papas. Do a quick round.
Interesting. I thought you would go with the bad dad jokes because you hate to end on them.
I will let you crack out on these bad dad jokes before to end the show. We'll be fine. Because y'all don't hammer them too hard, so we can wrap it out and not go long. But Parliament of Papas. The question is, does listening to an audiobook count as reading? And I know there's a lot of people who are very purists. I'll go ahead and say it does. I mean, that's the only way I have the time to consume anything in the written form, other than unless you're going to make it into a movie. And we know the percentages of TV and movies that are made from books are very low compared to the good books. So many good books that are out there. So I say it does, but that's just me. What about you guys?
See, I agree with you, and mostly because unlike a movie where you can kind of be doing something else and still get the gist of it, if you're not focused on the audiobook, you're going to be like, oh, I got to back this up because you're not imagining it. And so I say it does because it invokes your imagination a lot more than, say, watching a show or watching a movie does.
What about you guys, Kurt, Hotep?
My initial response when you asked the question was to say, yes, it does count as reading, but doesn't. But then I started thinking about it deeper, and doesn't reading require you looking at words to identify?
It does.
Like, so like, isn't listening to an audiobook listening and reading being, looking at the words? So I don't know. It's hard for me to tell. It's hard for me to respond. My second mind, I'm going with the second mind, which is it's not reading, it's listening. But you can still comprehend the story. That would be my response right now at this point.
Kurt?
Yeah, it's not reading. So I mean, and for me, it's always been pretty cut and dry because it comes up, even in conversations. I think you're consuming the material, yes, but you're not reading. Reading is an actual action that requires looking, taking in printed words, and consuming it that way. Just like people learn in different ways, people consume material in different ways. An audiobook is a way to consume the material. It's not reading, it's listening.
So get your gavel ready, sir. Get your gavel ready. Show Hotep the gavel that we have. Show this.
Well, that's nice.
A dice-based gavel. So before you even spoke, I thought of this. I was like, okay, here's two things. One's a pro, one's against. When I read, right, I'm imagining the character, the voices, all this stuff. It's a theater of the mind, right? Same effect if I'm listening to the audio. Like you said, Joe, if you're not paying attention, you're not imagining it, it is triggering some of the same effects. However, if you're illiterate, as in you cannot read the written word, you can still listen to the book and enjoy it. So by definition, yes, Kurt, by definition, reading is a skill of interpreting written words off of paper. So I think it lands on it's not reading.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna like justify some other twisted way around it in the.
You better smack that gavel before we change our minds. The Parliament of Papas have ruled. Joe, what do you think?
By the literal definition, yes, it is not. Yeah. It is not reading.
I thought we might get a Ruth Bader Ginsburg descent over here from Joe.
I did see a funny clip a few months back where they were like, I thought I had $1 million idea. I was listening to an audiobook and I thought to myself, I really wish it had subtitles.
That's fantastic. And to a point too. Not every book is read word for word. In fact, like Gary Vaynerchuk did his book, Crushing It. And he read it about 6 months after he wrote it, but he'd learned so much more about social media and that. So I loved listening to it better because he would stop. He goes, okay, I'm going to stop right here. Here's something else. And he added, as the author, he added in, which you don't get by actually reading the book. So it is a whole different medium.
So no question. And I'm not making a value judgment. Like like look, Harry Potter. Let's just take Harry Potter, right? Harry Potter, the books are great. Harry Potter, the books read by Jim Dale are amazing. I mean, because of the way that he can bring life to the characters, but it is two different things, right?
Yeah.
Well, and the depending on the voice actor that is reading it, they could add a lot of inflection to the different voices, especially if they do voices. Not all of them do voices, but if they do voices, that can definitely change the perception of the characters in your mind that you would not have had you actually literally been reading.
Yeah, like you don't want me reading Hotep's graphic novels as an audiobook. I would just not. I would murder it in the wrong way. So there's that.